So I understand we have a very engaged and excited audience, and we are in time pressure, so I'll keep it brief and sweet. Very briefly about myself. I'm partner with Accenture. I lead our sustainability services practice in Southeast Asia. And I'd like to share with you a couple of data points, and that's really what it's going to be over the next 7 or 8 minutes or so, about a piece of research that we commissioned, which is really about the link between sustainability and commercial success, largely on consumer goods. Asking questions such as which markets are attractive, which are the reasons why businesses are attending to sustainability. Is that to focus on cost reduction? Is it to focus on revenue increase? Do they see it as an opportunity? Do they see it as risk? And I'd like to leave you with a couple of takeaways. First of all, what we found again is that one of the outcomes is that sustainability is vital to companies' growth, and is mostly demand-led. Second of all, there is a very interesting mismatch on the price points between supply and demand of sustainable products and services. And therefore, in order for businesses to meet the demand for sustainable products and services at those price points, there are a couple of specific actions that they can take to improve on that and to drive profitable growth by providing sustainable products and services. So, those couple of data points. First of all, as I mentioned, 78% of these business leaders, because all the people we interviewed, about 250 of them, saw sustainability as vital to their business growth. And this is very much in sync with a CEO study that we did together with the United Nations Global Compact about 2 years ago, where our global CEOs really see sustainability as an opportunity for growth. Interestingly, in Asia Pacific, I should say, largely with China and India being 2 out of the 3 emerging markets together with Brazil, the expectations of sustainability to fuel further growth is actually even higher. Now, if you then ask the question, what do these businesses actually see in terms of opportunities? Is this on the cost reduction side of things? Is this on the revenue increase side of things? Clearly, a majority of these companies actually sees, I shouldn't say majority, but it's at least double the amount of people sees this as an opportunity of revenue increase and growth rather than cost reduction. And interestingly, that is underpinned by another finding where, interestingly, you now see in this population of 250 business executives, the drivers of customer demand and consumer expectations actually to be more important than the traditional items such as reputation and sort of name and brands of businesses. Now, here's where it gets interesting. When we ask these business leaders, so how about the margins that you make on these sustainable products and services? 49% of these businesses actually say that they're making lower margins on these specific sustainable products and services. Now, if you then combine it with a couple of other findings, which I'll share as well, is that more than half of them agree that it is actually more expensive to be a sustainable business. Now, combine that then again with the fact that almost obviously many of these businesses actually mentioned that they are charging premiums for these more sustainable products and services, which would be the logical and natural response. Interestingly, then, if you ask them, how about your customers? Are they willing to pay these premiums? Almost half of them immediately acknowledge that most of their customers are simply not willing to pay these premiums for these products and services. And this very much resonates in many of the conversations that I'm having with my clients. So great sustainability, but many of my customers are actually not willing to pay for it. So if you combine all these data points, let's draw a couple of high-level conclusions, right? So it's vital for business growth, and it's largely demand-driven. There's clearly a mismatch in terms of the price point between demand and supply. And what I haven't really mentioned in the previous points, but what's worth noting as well, is that in addition to demand being set to grow, interestingly, if you ask businesses what they're actually doing to respond to this growing demand, most of them tell us that they are spending most time on promoting their sustainability credentials. Whereas at the same time, many of these businesses simply cannot keep up with the demand for sustainable products and services. Now, combining all these things really requires you to ask the question, so how can these businesses meet this increasing demand at the right price point? Because if you can, you're in business. In Dutch, we would say you're a spekkoper. I'm not sure whether Peter Bakker is still in the room, but that's really the thing to do. Now, a couple of very simple and actionable items, yet quite high level, but largely about, again, supply and demand. So in terms of demand, two things. Really about spending more time and investing in your abilities to identify those lucrative markets. And when identifying and looking for lucrative markets, look beyond traditional markets. Yeah? It can be about things like shoes as a service, moving from products-based businesses to more service-based business models. And those are truly capabilities of businesses that not many businesses actually have. The winners do. Sophisticated customer engagement. If this is all about being able to provide and be responsive to those fast evolving consumer demands at the right price points, you better make sure that you're continuously engaged with your most important clients. So after you've identified those lucrative markets and clients, make sure that you've put in place capabilities that allow you to continuously engage with them and stay tuned to what their evolving needs and desires are. And then, at least as important, and interestingly, this is not specific or exclusive to sustainability. This applies to any business. It's about making sure that you can actually have your house in order in terms of being able to reduce your costs to such an extent that you can actually, in a profitable way, provide those more sustainable products and services at the price points that your customers are willing to pay for. So that's it. I promise to stick to the 10 minutes. I'll leave it with that. If you have any questions, feel free, have a look at our website. Otherwise, just feel free to grab me by the arm. I'll be here for the rest of the day and the evening. I think